What is up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Hero Ranking. We are going over Cyclops' cards and first impressions with each of his cards. Going to be ranking them. These are my own opinions and also based on solo play. So I'll take that into consideration. I tested his hero kit against Green Goblin, Mutagen Formula. I took him through all four aspects to get a feel for each one for him. And let's just jump into it, I guess. So his hero card I actually marked down as a 2. It's 2-1-2. It's on the lower side of stats, I think. And then his next man, Optic Blast action, spend 1 resource of any type, deal 3 damage to an enemy with an upgrade attached, limit once per round. Now, this bumped it down to a 2 because it needs to be an enemy with an upgrade attached, villain or minion. So the first 2 games I didn't read the entire card correctly, like I usually don't. And so I was dealing damage to any enemy that was out there. But you need an upgrade attached. So your ability is kind of worthless if you don't have one of his tactic upgrades attached. Or any upgrade, as a matter of fact. So that's why he's a 2. And then moving on to Alter Ego, that is also going to be a 2 as well. 3 cost recovery, that's normal. It is cool that you get to add X-Men allies from any aspect into your deck. I didn't really take that into consideration. Constraint Train X, search your deck for a tactic upgrade and add it to your hand. This is a good ability because you want those tactic upgrades, but most of the games I played, I didn't really flip to Alter Ego. I think each game maybe twice at the most. But otherwise, yeah, I was mostly in hero form and just spamming this whenever I had the chance to. Moving on to Phoenix. Phoenix is actually a 4. She's a 3-2-2-3, which I think is a great stat line, especially for a 3 cost. So she's already up there on my list. Response after Phoenix enters play, choose a Cyclops card in your discard pile and add it to your hand. This is very good, especially for Cyclops, because you want to get those tactic cards back out into your hand and onto the board as much as possible, so you can use your Optic Blast. Wild resource. I mean, that's basically why she's a 4. Good stat line and a bit the ability to help you use your Optic Blast. Moving on to your Visor, which is a 3. 2 cost upgrade. Exhaust this card, generate a wild resource of you. For your Optic Blast ability. This attack gains piercing and range. This was going to be a 2 because you can only use the resource for your Optic Blast ability. I bumped it up to a 3 because that attack gains piercing and range, which I think I sometimes kept forgetting about because I kept paying off the tough with his 1 attack instead of possibly doing this. But here we are. Still 3. Still decent to have on the board. But alright, next is Field Commander. Forgot what that one looked like already. Alright. Field Commander, that's actually going to be a 1. 1 cost upgrade, you take the first turn during the player phase. So that's already bumping it down because I'm a solo player for the most part. And so this has no effect for me. Each Cyclops upgrade attached to a minion loses the temporary keyword. It's a physical resource. Now this is why I at least gave it a 1, because as long as you're playing a minion heavy deck, this can be very beneficial for you, especially if those minions have higher hit points and you can't take them out right away. So this is why it's a 1. It's really just put it on the board to make your deck smaller. The smaller your deck is, the more tactic upgrades you get, or the faster, I guess you could say. Moving on to exploit weaknesses. Exploit weaknesses is going to be a 2. 1 cost upgrade. Max 1 enemy, temporary. Increase the amount of damage attached enemy takes from each attack by 1. It's very good, especially if you can do multiple attacks in one turn. Like if you have some allies out there, you can bump up some good damage for that turn. But I think if you just have Cyclops out there, that's still at least 6 damage if you have, with the Optic Blast, because you can use it with this and his 1 attack. So that's still 6 damage for 1. So still pretty good. Still pretty good, but like I said, I think it benefits when you have more allies out there or more ways of dealing damage. Practice defense. What does that look like? Okay. Practice defense is somewhere. Where is it? There it is. It's 2. 0 cost upgrade, which is nice. Attached enemy gets -1 attack, energy resource. Now, this is a 2 mainly because it's 0, and I mainly only used it on the villain to damper their attacks on me or my allies. That's the only reason I would play it. I never put it on, I put it once on a minion, just to nullify their attack altogether. But that's why that's a 2. Moving on to priority target. Priority target I loved. I would always bring it back to my hand. This is a 4. 0 cost upgrade. When attached enemy is defeated, the player who defeated it draws 2 cards. Now I was playing mutagen formula, so there was a lot of minions, so I kept putting on minions, defeating that minion, drawing 2 cards, and was able to keep doing more things. Now if it wasn't very minion heavy, this card is probably lower, and exploit weakness might be actually higher, I think. Or something might be higher. Regardless, I really like this card. That's the card I would always bring back from my discard pile or my deck if I was on Alter Ego side. Moving on to Full Blast. Now this was going to be a 4, but I made it a 3. 1 cost event. When you use your Optic Blast ability, exhaust Cyclops. This attack gains 8 damage, 8 additional damage, so on top of the 3 already, so 11, and gains Overkill, physical resource. It was going to be a 4, but it's going to be a 3 because you could only play it as long as you could play it, do Optic Blast, which we know you need an upgrade to even do. So you have to kind of go through hoops to even play this card and have it kind of in your hand at the right time. And there's only one of it in its deck, which kind of stinks. Still a very good card. I still enjoyed playing it, especially when I had minions. Moving on to Ricochet Beam. Ricochet Beam I made a 3. It was a very fun card to play. So 2 cost event for 3 damage just off the bat, which is, it's good. It's good. Just attack card. As long as you have an upgrade on an enemy, deal 3 damage to an enemy with an upgrade attached. So you could deal 6 damage to an enemy, 9 if you use Optic Blast because you're able to because there's an upgrade. Or you can deal 3 damage to a minion and then 3 or 6 to the villain if you put an upgrade on the villain. Or vice versa. So good card. I enjoyed playing it when I could, especially teaming it up with the upgrade and Optic Blast. Moving on to the last card, Tactical Brilliance. This was actually a 4 because during my last game I realized how important it was to his kit. 2 cost event for remove 3 threat from a scheme, choose a tactic card in your discard pile and add it to your hand. That's what's most important here because the main scheme kept having 1 card on it. The main scheme kept having 2 thwarts, so I was like, well, I'll just thwart with him for 2 to remove it and use this card to pay for something else. When I really needed those tactic cards to be able to use Optic Blast. I finally figured that out and started using this more often, making Cyclops a very much stronger character, I thought. So that is going to be all the cards ranked in his kit. Sadly, it's a pretty good spread, but he did score out as my lowest scoring hero out of all the heroes I have, and he sadly has a 5.5 out of 10. I think this number fluctuates a lot depending, 1, if you're playing multiplayer, or 2, playing a minion-heavy villain, which I was. If I was not, these cards may actually go lower or higher, depending. Please let me know in the comments what you think he should be out of 10, which cards you think should be higher, and which cards you think should be lower. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and also follow my socials, which are linked in the details below. Other than that, we will see you next time. Deuces.